Hello, everyone. I'm T,
And I'm Nessa.
and together we are Casual Fangirls. On today's episode, we'll be talking about the fifth episode of Marvel's What If series entitled What If Zombies. So before we get started, we're going to do what we normally do and give you a spoiler warning. Nessa, hit him with it.
All right. So, guys, we are going into details about this fifth episode. So, if you did not watch it, please go and watch it before you watch us. So, if you're not caught up in the MCU, that's not our fault. If you didn't see the Disney Plus shows, that is not our fault. If you haven't seen Shang-Chi, that's definitely not our fault. So, join us as we talk about all the things MCU. And Tamara's going to give you our recap.
Right. So we open up in a universe where, just like the beginning of Avengers, Infinity War Banner is shot down to Earth to warn everyone about Thanos. Except Earth is a little different than when we remember it. As Ebony Maw prepares to attack Banner, he is saved by Iron Man, Doctor Strange, and Wong, but something is not quite right. There's zombies. The Wasp, aka Hope Pym, Spider-Man, and the Cloak of Levitation get him to safety. Turns out, when Hank Pym went into the quantum realm to save his wife, Janet, she contracted a virus that corrupted her brain and turned her into a zombie. She arrives back from the quantum realm, and within 24 hours, the whole Pacific Northwest is infected. The Avengers arrive to save the day, but quickly fall victim to the virus. Our surviving heroes, along with the Wasp and Spider-Man, include Happy Hogan, Kurt from the Ant-Man movies, Bucky, Sharon Carter, and General Okoye. They receive a message from another survivor camp claiming to have a cure located at Camp Lehigh in New Jersey. Giving me very much I Am Legend vibes, by the way. Our heroes are attacked at Grand Central Station by a zombie Hawkeye and Falcon. We lose Happy. On the train to Jersey, zombie Captain America, Steve Rogers, infects Sharon and is killed by Bucky. Sharon is then killed by Hope, who gets infected. The train runs out of fuel close to the camp, but our heroes must make it through a sea of zombies. As her last sacrifice, Hope enlarges herself and carries the rest of the team to the camp. At the camp, we find who else but Vision using the Mind Stone to keep the zombies away. The Mind Stone emits a frequency that the zombies find aversive, and Vision believes that targeted exposure can reverse the virus. This experiment worked on Ant-Man, aka Scott Lang, well, his head anyway. General Okoye suggests they emit the frequency from Wakanda since it has the technology to do so, and it's the last human sanctuary on Earth. Bucky searches the camp for transport, but instead finds T'Challa missing a leg and an infected Wanda. In a plot twist, we find out that Vision has been feeding T'Challa, our king, to Wanda, our king, right? To Wanda, whose powers have been resisting the stone. Wanda escapes and attacks the group. We lose Kurt, General Okoye, Bucky, and Vision sacrifices himself to give the group the Mind Stone. Banner turns into the Hulk, which buys our survivors Spider-Man, T'Challa, and Scott some time. They make it out and head to Wakanda, only to find a zombie Thanos with 5 stones in the Infinity Gauntlet waiting. What an episode. So, Nessa, did you like the episode?
Did I like the episode? Did I like the episode? I live for zombies. So that's one of my fandoms as well, just zombies in general. I did. I enjoyed it. I think it was fun watching. It was the most out of box episode that we've gotten this season. So it was fun watching like our heroes turning into zombies, fighting against zombies, trying to figure it all out, and then just trying to get to familiar places that we've been before. And so I thought it was a fun ride. I thought it was a fun ride. How about you? Did you enjoy it?
So, as you know, from us being friends for almost 2 decades now, right? We've been friends for a while. I'm not really into zombies. I'm not into horror or scary things in general. I surprisingly enjoyed this episode.
Oh,
I
good.
I think it's because I knew the characters and it was a cartoon that made it like less. I don't know. I'm a scaredy cat. Like I don't like to be scared when I watch things. I like to be entertained and like go into fantasy worlds where like I can escape from like reality. Like something about a zombie apocalypse feels too real for me and I don't want to watch it. That being said, I could really use like an instruction video that like Spider-Man was putting together because I know nothing about surviving the zombie apocalypse because I don't watch those movies. But all in all, I definitely enjoyed it, and I enjoyed what I think the writers were trying to like prepare us for, which we'll get to in a couple of minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean that survivor's guide, right? Everybody needs the survivor's guide to a zombie apocalypse, and I love that. Of course, it was Spider-Man the one to give us to us because not even the millennial Gen Z, is that what he would be?
Yeah, he.
Oof.
Well,
I don't know.
I think we're millennials. I think
millennials.
we're the latter half of the millennials. I don't know.
Well, of course it had to be him to be the one to give it to us, which is very reminiscent of the movie Zombieland, if anybody's ever seen that, in which the lead actor Columbus gives a whole list of like survival tips of how to make it through in a zombie apocalypse. And he's got that same like plucky kind of quirky energy that Spider-Man was with too. So that was very fun for me. How'd you like the action of it?
I always enjoy seeing people that have abilities use their abilities. I don't care what they're using it on. And it doesn't matter what story we're talking about, the MCU, Harry Potter, Game of Thrones. Every time in Game of Thrones, Dany lit stuff on fire and like walked out of the fire, I was like, yes, do it. I want to see it because you have that ability, right? So in this episode, even though I kind of was just like, all right, it's zombies, like I get it, but it doesn't like really excite me. It was exciting to like see the Hulk like carry his own against the zombies. It was cool to see Wanda like use her powers against the Avengers. It was cool to see, and then here comes a nitpick. It was cool to see Vision just take the stone out of his fucking head himself. I was just like, so why did he need Wanda to do it? Like, I don't like, why did he need her to destroy it while it was in his head when he could have just took it out and she could have destroyed it? I don't know. Anyways,
right.
Something about him seeing him take it out himself like threw me for a loop. Like, why wasn't this? I'm sure
it could have been a reason. Movie. It could have been a thing in the movie. He could have
did it himself, but he didn't. He made Wanda do it, which was like rude. And that's just rude. Like, just do it yourself. Like, why are you gonna make the person that loves you do it? And then the other piece of that too, I was gonna say something else about Vision and his stone. Whatever, it'll come back to me at another point. So again, I just like seeing, he did it at like the worst moment. If you were really willing to sacrifice yourself, wouldn't you wait until after the people you're trying to save makes it to freedom?
Well, he had to give the stone to them. That was the whole thing.
Okay, but why didn't he make sure they got to the hangar first? Like, he didn't even make, like, I was like, wait, you could have waited like 10 seconds for that. Like, I don't know. Anyways, I'm being nitpicky.
It was a sacrifice, but it wasn't the greatest sacrifice because he could have fought Wanda off for a little bit, right? But he's like, I'm not gonna fight her, so take it, bye. Good luck, guys.
Right. So
I think that's what it was.
But I did enjoy the action. I enjoyed seeing Bucky whooping ass. I enjoyed seeing Okoye. It was, and can we just do this now? Zombies versus the zombies. Like, what are the rules of the zombiedom, if that's a word? It just, the fact that, why are they able to use their powers as zombies? Like, that I thought was a really interesting choice.
So I was definitely going to mention that. So just kind of piggybacking off of you saying, like, watching our heroes use their powers and everything like that, right? So normally in any type of zombie apocalypse movie or TV show, whatever, zombies are usually on the dumber side. They're just like flesh and blood driven, and that's all they want to do. In certain movies and stuff, they have a little bit more intelligence just in terms of like getting around obstacles. So they'll climb over things, or they'll figure out like, oh, we can walk under the water and come out on the other side of the lake. Like, they'll figure things out like that. But it was an interesting choice that they allowed anybody who turned into a zombie to keep their skills from when they were like fully human. So we still see Iron Man able to use the suit. We still see Doctor Strange using the sling ring, and everybody's using their powers at full capacity. I guess the point they were trying to make also is that it was the virus from the quantum realm that made it a little bit different, because what they said is that it corrupted the brain in a certain way, but I guess it just didn't do it in such a way where you lost your skills and everything like that. I was like, oh wait, we're still fighting regular here. They're not just like brainless animals. So I was like, oh, okay. But I was like, you know what, I can fuck with this, because in zombie movies, it's a little funner when the zombies are fast and a little bit better thinking. Like, it's like, oh, you thought you was gonna escape, but that thing is bucking it like down the street. So I enjoyed that. I actually did enjoy that.
So I guess, I mean, yes, I understood that because it was from the quantum realm, that gives us a little more leeway to say, like, these are not your typical zombies. And so they have to battle their friends, knowing their powers and all that stuff. But it just felt a little off for me. So I guess, like, rationalize in my brain, like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm Iron Man. I know how to use my suit, but I don't know that I don't want to eat flesh. I guess those things can be true. Like, that's fine. But it's just so abnormal from what I'm used to with zombie stories that it threw me off a bit. How did you feel about, like, us having another moment with T'Challa?
I mean, any little bits of Chadwick we can get, right? Of course we want it. So it was great that he was there to voice that. What I hated was that he was being used to feed the white woman, but they took our king.
It was a whole episode of Get Out happening. Okay, I haven't even seen that movie, but I know the premise. And Vision was on some, like, Get Out type shit. So
yeah, I mean, I was just like, damn, it had to be T'Challa. Like, of all of the Avengers, it had to be him. So I was like, that sucks. But they needed somebody at the end to carry them over to Wakanda, I guess, or whatever.
They did. And honestly, like, when it comes to personalities who can keep Wanda at bay, like, I have to assume that T'Challa was, like, using some of his personable abilities to keep her at bay, which is why only his leg was gone and not, like, his entire body.
I just assumed that Vision was just cutting him up piece by piece and was, like, literally feeding him to her.
Yes, but also I'm just choosing to believe that T'Challa was, like, able to sweet talk them from, like, do we have to do all of me now? Can we just do, like, a leg?
I mean, this is the same T'Challa that turned Thanos, right? So turned Thanos into good. So right. I guess I keep the sweet talk anyway. But yeah, any moment that we could get with Chadwick is always great. I also did like what they were kind of doing with Spidey in terms of, like, addressing his grief, because I mean, dang, in the in the MCU, I mean, he's lost quite a few people. So
he listed them, and when he did, I was just like, oh yeah, ooh, you poor boy.
Yes.
Yeah, like, you always forget he lost his parents too. At least I always forget that that the reason he's with his aunt is because his parents aren't around anymore, and then his uncle obviously passed too. So yeah, when he did that list, I was like, okay, yeah, no, you got a point.
They was running it down, and then when he lost Happy, I was like, damn. He's like, no, not Happy. I was like, sheesh. And somehow he still had a smile on his face, and I was just like, all the more power to you, man. Keep trucking along.
Yeah, I think and we'll talk about this in a second when we get to, like, potential MCU implications, but they had to have been preparing us for something. I feel like, I don't know that they're necessarily preparing us for, like, Happy to go away. I don't really see, well, maybe, but I don't really see that like, this episode leading up to that. But it definitely, like, they are purposely reminding us of his loss, because I'm almost certain that's going to come up in the next movie. I'd be shocked if it didn't.
Well, word on the multiverse is some people feel like they're preparing to kill off Tom Holland's Spider-Man in order to make room for Miles Morales. That is the rumor going around. Not saying that Tom Holland will be dead forever in the MCU, but they're trying to open a way to potentially get Miles Morales into the MCU.
So I have comments on that just popped into my head. One is, I could see that. I don't know that I like it, but I could see it. Like, why kill off someone that's still so young?
Right.
But like you said, they may bring him back. But I mean, the people they've killed, I'd be like, how much longer is Samuel L. Jackson's gonna be? Like, I want him to live forever, but he didn't, like, Samuel L. Jackson didn't start acting until he was in like his 40s or 50s. Like, he was older when he started, and I'm thankful that he's still around, and he's a bad motherfucker, but like like, we need to start, like, because I mean, honestly, every single time we have another movie with one of the people we know, I'm just like, I'm so thankful this person is still around. And I was feeling that way before Chadwick unfortunately passed away. So I say all that to say that, like, killing off Tom Holland feels like really premature. He has another 10 years in him, I would assume. Granted, if he even wants to keep the franchise going, right? Maybe it's him that wants to do other things. I don't know. The other thing I would say is that it would be really interesting, like, that feels true if the MCU is trying to get away from having to deal with Sony. With Miles Morales, with a different Spider-Man, I think they can maybe finagle. I don't know. I don't know anything about the contracting. I don't know anything about the licensing agreements, because Miles Morales is technically Spider-Man, but like, he's not Peter Parker.
I think Miles is still Sony though.
Do you think?
I believe so.
Okay, I don't know. I just thought it would be interesting if that was their go around, because remember, like, their whole deal, like, Marvel, MCU was about to be like, all right, fine, we just won't be using Spider-Man anymore. Like, it's fine. They don't care. And then they like they fixed it.
But I mean, if they do kill him off, I think it's definitely a situation where they're bringing back. I think it'll be something where it's like, oh, he's locked in a whole different dimension or whatever, like the nightmare realm, some shit. And then like they'll like be like, okay, now we all need to band together to save Spider-Man and whoever they probably threw in there with him or whatever.
Well, then he's not dead. He's just like lost.
Whatever.
Okay. Some people I can see that happening.
Feel like legit die. Some people feel like he'll be pushed somewhere else and they have to go save him. But I mean, we won't know till we know. But I definitely think they are preparing us for something. Because even when like the cloak of levitation was on him, and Hope Pym was like, "It looks good on you. You know, you could grow into it." And I was like, "What are we talking about here? Where are we going?"
I caught that too. Yeah.
Where are you going with this? So I mean,
he's not going to become a sorcerer overnight. So I don't know what that's about.
Nah. Yeah, I don't know what that was. Maybe they just wanted to like make more connections between him and Strange, but
probably.
How'd you feel when you saw like Scott Lang's head?
It annoyed me. It annoyed me. It did. And the reason why you're asking me is because you knew that it would annoy me. Because we did not talk about this beforehand. We didn't talk about any of this beforehand, but you're asking, it's not on the doc. You were saving this because you knew it was going to annoy me. It annoyed me to no end. I can't put my finger on it, but it was just like, why?
Why him?
Why him?
And then at the end, he was like, I was an Avenger too. And Spider-Man's like, oh yeah. He's like, well, not actually, but you know.
Well, okay, so to be fair, like, he hasn't been in anything else really. Like, you know, like, he's always just happy to be there, which is kind of cool. I watched Civil War the other night before last, and to have, you know, he was like filling up Steve Rogers, like, whew, like, you know, that, like, that's great, like, you know, plays well on screen and everything. But in this episode, I was just like, why are we talking to the head?
Yeah,
like, why?
I was like, why is that even a thing that his severed head would be like alive and okay and functioning? It didn't make sense for me, but I was just like, and then like the humor was funny at first, and then it
It
went
got
into
too much.
too many, and I was just like, okay, we can
Yeah.
we can stop now.
Yeah. One thought that just occurred to me though was like the reason to save his head would be if you don't have hope and you the person, not like the thing hope, or maybe both, whatever. And you think that the cure might also be in the quantum realm. Then you need Scott, or you could use Scott to figure out how to get back into the quantum realm and find the cure. But none of that actually happened. So I was just like, he was just like comedic levity, I guess, and it didn't work for me. Like, it's fine, it's Scott Lang, but it was fine. I feel like they did that to like, I loved having Kurt in the episode. That was hilarious. Like having Kurt from Ant-Man, yeah, like, that was cool. I like that. But Ant-Man as a head, I was like,
why Kurt? And then like as the episode went, I was like, oh, Kurt's funny.
no, yeah, he's funny. Yeah, absolutely.
I was definitely with it.
Who do you think was the MVP of the episode?
For me, without a doubt, I felt like the Cloak of Levitation was the MVP of the episode. I felt like it was, because when Banner was getting attacked, that cloak was what helped save them in the beginning. So along with like it was the cloak, the Wasp, and then Spider-Man. But the cloak was the first one to show up and be like, I got you. Boom. And then it also saved Spider-Man in the train. So I was just like, and now Scott Lang is using it to float around. I just think literally the cloak carried the episode.
That's a good way to look at it.
It was
That's
the
so
quiet
MVP. I chose Spider-Man as the MVP of the episode only because I think spirit goes a long way, like personality and everything. And if hope gave them hope, I guess, like Spider-Man was definitely the heart of what we watched transpired and everything, keeping everyone's like hopes up, I guess. So I chose him. But again, as you can tell from even how I'm talking about it, I'm not truly invested in this particular episode. Like, I don't really care. Which is not, I mean, it was a cute episode, but I'm not like vested in it. Now we want to talk, like, some of the things that I did find kind of cool was like what I thought some future implications could be like from the episode. We talked about one of them being like them preparing us to like just connect Spider-Man to Doctor Strange a little bit more. What else did we just say? My memory sucks.
Even what you just mentioned, just reiterating the fact that Spider-Man really is like almost like the heart of the MCU a little bit. Like, I don't want to go. Whose heartstrings didn't get tugged? I don't want to go, Mr. Stark.
I don't want to go.
I lost a kid. Like, you know what
I mean? Yeah, that too. Some of the things that stood out to me was like, okay, seeing the Hulk go up against Wanda, I was like, y'all are preparing us for something. Because some people, word in the multiverse, is that Wanda may be a villain in one of these upcoming movies. And so preparing us to even just see Wanda be a villain in that way. 1, 2, showing us that Hulk has it in him to go up against her. We didn't see how that battle ended, I think on purpose. But I thought it was interesting that they like, I think that was the purpose, like one of the reasons for that was showing us like Hulk, not only can Hulk withstand against a bunch of zombies, but he can also go, like he's willing and can go toe to toe against Wanda, which is really, really interesting to me.
That is interesting, actually. You're gonna get White Vision coming back?
So that leads into my next point. Here's my next point. The other thing that really stood out to me about this episode was that Wanda and Vision will always choose each other before everyone else.
Yup.
And right? What? Say it again.
Said that's my man.
Right. And I'm gonna stick beside him. Right. So that is like, even Vision was like, that's my girl, and I was fight her. No, chop off your leg. What do you mean fight? No, chop off your leg. You're just a piece of meat, whatever. So I think is going to play a huge role. That again, in both cases we've seen in WandaVision and in this, each person was just like, oh, actually me holding on to our love is doing a lot of damage to other people. So let me stop and let me sacrifice myself in whatever way I can think to do that. But twice now, we've seen that both characters have it in them to always choose the love for the other before their responsibilities as a superhero. And who would have thought that, like,
Yeah, I thought it,
love with like a sentinel would like trump all?
I thought it was a great plot twist, and like you said, I thought it was awesome to see the roles reversed, where
Mhm.
you said like Wanda was willing to risk the well-being of everybody around her just to bring Vision back, and
Mhm.
Vision is willing to do the same for her. So I'm very interested to see, because White Vision has to come back. He can't just be out here floating in
Are
the
we
world.
calling him White Vision?
I mean, that's what I call him.
So we could call him White Vision, and the other one is like Vaishon. No,
With the Kofi on, like
with the Kofi or with the do rag and the chain, like that's Vision. That's Vaishon. Okay, what he had on that turtleneck, don't even get me started. Like the entire Black social
with
media
the gold
community
thing.
caught it. So I in my head though, I've been calling him
Yeah.
Albino Vision. He looks more
Oh, okay.
albino than white, but whatever. We can call him whatever. Like the Vision that's technically still running around right now.
Yeah, so I think definitely at some point he has to come back. We just don't know when or where.
Right. The other thing I thought about was we have an Ant-Man movie coming out in the near future, in the next year, maybe year and a half or so. The potential damage the quantum realm can cause to the rest of the world, I thought was another interesting, like, I didn't think about that. Why didn't I think about that in Ant-Man and the Wasp, that like them going into the quantum realm, they could bring something crazy out. I don't know why that never crossed my mind before. So
Right.
now I'm thinking that that could be a potential issue, especially it's what called Ant-Man and the Quantum Realm
I don't recall.
of Madness. No, it's Multiverse of Madness. Is it Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness?
Yes, it's multiverse
Okay.
of madness.
Maybe it's just Ant-Man and the Quantum Realm. Maybe that's just like what it is. But and Kang's supposed to be in that. So that should be really interesting. But
Okay.
again, I think that this episode was like just reminding us about the quantum realm, showing us like what can happen if you mess around with the quantum realm in a way that you shouldn't, and things like that. And then the last thing I had on my list, just bringing it back to T'Challa one more time.
So it's going to be called Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
Quantum
And it's
Mania, that's
coming
what it
out.
was.
Yeah, it's coming out 2023.
So yeah, Quantum Realm of Madness, Quantum Mania, is that not the same thing? Whatever, you got what I was saying. So the last thing, the last thing I will say is that just bringing it back one last time to T'Challa, our king. And again, they filmed these because that's actually Chadwick Boseman's voice on the episode. It's almost kind of like haunting to see that they keep using him for certain lines. And in this episode, it was once again, in my culture, death is not the end; it's a jumping off point, right? And it just feels almost surreal to constantly have this person who has now passed away keep reminding us about death, you know.
I mean,
So
MCU has definitely done a good job of keeping his legacy alive and all the movies that he's done. So I mean, it's very fitting that it's not the end for him. You know, the legacy lives on. But unfortunately, it is the end for us. And it is time to wrap this up. Do you have any final thoughts about the episode?
I have no final thoughts. I thought it was fun. I like that it just seemed like something that is just like, let's just see what would happen if we throw some random pop culture thing like zombies in, like, right? So I thought that was cool. All in all, zombies not my thing, but I think that they still use the episode for something in all the ways that we've mentioned, of like what potential implications or what are they trying to prepare us for the potential future. So I liked it.
Yeah, I thought it was one of the funnest episodes just because it was so wacky and wonky. Like, it was actually really fun to see this. And I know I've heard a lot of hardcore fans kind of say like this is the kind of stuff that they wanted. They didn't want to keep seeing like revamped kind of stories that we've already seen. So I'm hoping that they enjoyed this at least. But it's definitely a good time. I wouldn't be mad if they turned it into a show of its own, but I don't think that's gonna happen. But it's all good.
Well, if they did, they would need to put together like a zombie fighting team, wouldn't they?
They would.
They would. We should have a conversation about that. Maybe next video, we'll put together our ultimate zombie Avenger fighting team to see who we think
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
would have the best chance at surviving in a zombie apocalypse. But until then, thanks for hanging out with us.
Please let us know what you guys thought of the episode. Give us your thoughts. Were you into it? Are you into zombies like I am? But until next time, guys, we'll be signing off. I'm Nessa.
And I'm T.
And together we are the Casual Fangirls. So we'll see you guys next time.